G'day all, welcome back to Tom's Brook Farm. So today Henry's about to go spraying. We just went for a drive across the paddock, just went and had a look. We've got some stuff germinating. So we're going to get him going because otherwise we're going to get stuck with time if we don't get him started now. So he's off. We also went for a drive across the clayed area that George was smudging the other day, and that is just a little bit too early to start getting on that because it's still too wet. So right now George is getting Louis and I'm grabbing our lifting lug thing. We're going to put the concrete dividers into the shed. So let's get into it. Go down. Yep. Rightio. Yep. Bad. Simple way to lift and move them around, nice and effective. Lift up. So yeah, we just drive this around and place them in. Try and get them as straight as we can, obviously. It is pretty easy to line up. You can see we've got our stain on the ground there from where it has been in the previous years. So we just got to line it up with that and get the whole way. We have one more to go. So, George has got the hang of it now. He won't be under so much pressure now when I've got the camera around here. Down. Oh, yep. The biggest thing you just got to watch out for this is how it's starting to swing. Is if you apply your brakes, you smash one of these dividers into the other, and then you chip a big bit of concrete off, which isn't ideal. Has happened many a time before though, and it has happened today. Finished. Doesn't look too bad. It's in a fairly straight line. So now we're going to do three things. The first is we'll grab these metal caps up here, these ones here, and we put them over the top of each joint. The second is we then go and grab expander foam and we fill in. See how there's cracks through here, so your rear and that will spill through to the other side. And then like this has been hit by the loader or someone trying to get a bit close. So we just fill all those gaps in, otherwise we get fertiliser that stays there and just gets a bit gross. Well, definitely like that one, that's a huge gap. And then the next thing we do is we're going to come along and we just push all this back up. And we've got bricks that we set down there, and the reason that's old CPH tarp, and we've got that so that we can stack our fertiliser higher. We can't fit a huge amount in here, so when we want to try and get a huge amount, we try and stack it as high as we can, and to do that we need the tarps on there, and it just helps with when you're pushing up or when you're like loading the truck during the season. Sometimes you get a bit ambitious and you get a bit of a bow wave happening out the side of the loader, and it'll just spill stuff around the side there and it just falls in there and rusts. So we'll grab those and then we'll grab the expander foam and do that.
Oh, you should have filmed that. Oh, you are.
So we wait until this dries, which will be in a day or two. Come along with a knife and cut it all off, because what we don't want is obviously this to break off with our fertiliser and then go into the seeder and then block our pipes in the seeder. The reason we put the bricks up there and not just leave it is it's only held in by tech screws up the top. So when we leave it and we push up the fertiliser onto it, all that weight sits on it and it just rips the tarp down. So we just do that, and then at the end of the year we just get all that hard fertiliser that's packed on up there and clean that out. But yeah, that's the reason why we sit the bricks up there. For the rest of the afternoon I'm on the lawnmower, George is over there on the whippersnipper, giving the yard a bit of a tidy up. It's starting a bit overgrown, so we're going to get all that done before seeding. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, because this is not interesting, or no one wants to watch someone do some mowing. What have you done, George?
I think the pipe's a bit worn out, to be honest.
Bit worn out, or did you whippersnip it?
It's got more power than I thought, you know.
Unbelievable. That pipe has been there for, buddy, 15 years?
doing such a good job.
Morning everyone, and a foggy morning it is. We are out at the paddock here with the smudger. We're just going to drive out and just give it a go, see what it looks like. We really do need to start getting smudging again because Friday's predicted, at the moment it's 50% of 1 to 5 mils. So we just want to try and get ahead of that. You know, we won't finish it, but yeah, we want to try and get ahead. So George is, once the tractor's warmed up, we'll drive out and we'll see what sort of job it's doing now. Hopefully it's a good enough job to keep going for the rest of the day. So it is doing a job. Not as good as what it was doing the other day when it was dry, but it is still doing something. Well, which way is it going? We'll go out this way. So as you can tell now, he's on his 45. And it is doing the job. You know, it's not as good as what it was doing before because now our clay's wet. It's it's not crushing up as good as what we'd like, but it is still smudging it. It's still it's actually doing more of a smudging effect now than breaking up. So I think we'll just continue on with this, because if we wait more days and we get more rain on it, then it's going to be even worse and longer till we can get it done. So we will leave George to it and keep him smudging. It really didn't take long for that fog to clear. So my first job, yesterday we had the battery charger on Wally here, and we turned it off last night and started it. It actually started. So that's still off. We didn't leave it running overnight, didn't want to explode batteries. So this morning, I'm going to turn that isolator on. This morning I'm going to turn it on. It's not a good sign. Oh, it's not a good sign. The isolator was left on. Anyway, I'm going to turn it on, and if it runs, I'll get it out of the shed. But now that I've just discovered that I may have left the isolator on yesterday, we shall see. We've got lights. And we got power. Whew, thank God. Alright. Did this warm up to build some air. I gotta climb up in there and get those jumper leads off. It says that the boom spray is going to be used from now on. I'll steal the boom spray's parking bay and chuck this in here so it's out of the weather for now, because once seeding starts it will be out in the weather all the time as well. And I will remember to turn the isolator off this time. Done. So my next job for the morning, I'm going to go jump into art, and I need to set up the X35 screen that we have in there that controls the Borgo. So I need to go and set all that up with all the jobs for this year, and then put all our VR maps on there as well. So then the boys, it's just one less thing that I need to teach the boys to do, and it's not that they won't be capable of doing it, it's just that it can get quite confusing. So I just like to get it all set up so it's all done, ready to roll, and then especially like come night shift, the boys, when they switch paddocks, they can just bing bong straight into the paddock, and then they don't need to remember to then import the VR map, and then they don't need to remember that they've got to turn this VR map on, and then it's got to be on this certain section. Just is all ready to roll when they open up the paddock that they're going into. So while the screens are lighting up, I mentioned the boys. So George is obviously going to be one of my seater drivers. And then second seater driver is Levi. He's a Kiwi. He rocks up on Sunday. So his first day is Monday. So he gets a whole week of working on the bar, and then the next week we'll be into it. So yeah, we run 2 12-hour shifts. We try when we can to go 24 hours. So we go from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, and then 7 at night to 7 in the morning. And yeah, normally we have a pretty good run at that. The issues can come at the night time, at the night shift guy, and that's because we get a lot of dew and moisture at night time. And yeah, this bar can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to trying to get stubble to go through. Even though it's single tine, it struggles. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I am a little bit worried. Seeding into the wheat stubble could be a bit of an issue. It was lodged this year, so normally we cut it at beer can height, but this year it's probably double that because it was leaning over. So I'm a little bit worried about that. We'll see what happens when we get into that. Barley stubble I'm not too worried about. The reason being is when we do canola, when we seed canola, which will be going into barley stubble, we sort of throw CTF out the window, and I'll go into more depth into that when we come to seeding canola. But yeah, essentially we seed on a 30-degree angle to our run line. So yeah, the stubble doesn't worry the bar at all, because it doesn't have time for it to block up, because it's going into a new row every couple seconds. So yeah, now I need to relearn myself this screen and get these jobs and VR maps onto here. We'll start at the top to make life easier, and then we're going to go, if I go into here, I've got all my old jobs, so I'm going to get out of that one, going to create a new job, go accept, and then I'm going to go, this is where I need to relearn. No, I need that button right there. That's my coverage. I'll get back to you. After 5 minutes of fiddling through the screen and trying to find it, I figured out what's wrong. I actually don't have any boundaries or maps or anything up here, even though when I go into here I've got all my paddocks and they all have boundaries. The issue is that receiver is not the receiver that we use for seeding. We use the 6000 receiver, which has got SF3 on it, and that is currently on George's tractor. And when they put the X35 screen in, this X35 screen is somehow magically linked to that receiver and that receiver only. So if you put any other receiver on, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to wait until George has finished smudging. I'm gonna have to wait until George has finished smudging, and then I'll be able to go chuck that on here. And yeah, normally when you've got the boundaries up, the coverage map, you've got a button right here that you can press, but that's obviously browned out because it doesn't know where we are. It doesn't know that it has boundaries on there until I put that receiver on. So this job is going to have to wait on to the next one. It is a bit frustrating that I can't get all that done now while I've got it fresh in my mind, but at least I figured out that it was only it was a simple, easy fix, and it's not going to be a have to call multiple people and figure out what's wrong. So yeah, at least there's that positive to think about. So my next job is nowhere near as exciting. It's more of the admin side of the farm. So we've just signed on with Process Works to do HR and also WorkSafe, just to make sure we're all covered on everything. Now on there I need to add in my chemicals. They had most of them, but they're missing probably about 20. So I need to go find all the chemicals. Here's a classic example. We got our inbound, so then I've got to download the safety data sheet and then upload it onto the portal. And the reason being is all the guys need to be able to access it and read it. So yeah, it's something we've got to do, and it's not an exciting thing to do, but it needs to be done. So I'm going to be doing this for probably the next hour or two. The chemical inventory has been updated and that is all sorted. Now what I need to do, more admin, is I also need to do all the equipment that we use on farm. So I just got to go around and just get all the make, models and the year of everything, and then I got to input that into the portal as well. So I'm gonna go around to all my equipment, find all the dates of everything and get that sorted. Henry's busy killing weeds, and at least he knows what he's doing when it comes to filling up the boom spray and operating it. So Kate has just been, she dropped off some canola seed for me and the last of our Roundup, and also we got our insecticide here, Trojan. So I thought I'd show you guys the canola. So what I've got here is 2 pallets. So that's a pallet of Bandit and that's a pallet of Renegade. I think, I'll have to do my math, I think there's about a ton of Bandit. And there's about 500 kilos of a Renegade. Now, the canola variety that we normally grow is called Bonito. That's by a new seed. We've been growing that for a long time, and we haven't had any new seed to refresh it. It's been a very good variety for us, but yeah, we're starting to get a lot of disease pressure with it, especially with blackleg and things like that. So last year I'm getting about a pallet of this as well. So this is T4510. We grew this last year. So this year I'm getting 2 ton of the T45. So that is a seed that you've got to pay for. Normally all canola seed you've got to pay for, but this Bandit and Renegade, if you see there, free canola seed. Yeah. So AGT, who's a seed company, it's their 20th year anniversary, so they were giving away at the beginning. They were giving away, it was just 200 kilos of each variety. You obviously had to go online and select it and all that, and then once during harvest they obviously got a lot better yield on everything than what they were expecting, and they called me up and said, hey look, we got more seed, do you want some more seed? And I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. So yeah, there we go. So I've got these 2, and I've got the T45 hopefully rocking up, and then yeah, the Bonito that's in the shed there, and the amount of hectares we're doing is essentially doing 1,500 hectares of canola. So we tend to go at a seeding rate of 2 kilos. Now, put the math together, I've got way too much canola seed. There's a few reasons for that. I saved the Bonito because last year the canola seed arrived extremely late, and yeah, put everybody behind. So this year it's good that we got the AGT stuff, but the Invigor, the BAS, whatever you call that, T4510 is still haven't got a date of when that's going to rock up. So yeah, I just got enough canola seed of bonito to just see us through the year if we had to, but it can just stay there if need be. And yeah, we'll give these new varieties a go. So yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, I'll obviously be able to keep you guys updated throughout the year on how these new varieties are going for us, and then we'll be able to compare it to our T4510, which did quite well for us last year. So stay tuned for seeding and then the growing season, I guess. And on another note, we're off to go and see how George is going. He said it's not doing the best of jobs, so we'll go and have a look and see what's going on. So the issue George is having is because we've had that rain. It's not doing the best of jobs. It's more gliding over the top now than smudging. Even though we've had the heat of the day warm everything up, it's still not doing an ideal job. Get next to him again and show you. So what's happening is, because we smudged it just the one way the other day and had the rain, the smudge bar at the moment is just gliding over the top. Basically with that rain, it's connected all the clay together, and then the clay is, I guess you'd call it, has capped the soil. I mean, it is doing a job, but it's not spreading it as much as I'd like to each side of the run. So what George is doing is nearly finished his 45, going one way on that one. I'm going to come up to here to where our other lot of claying is. We haven't got there yet, so those are the big clods up there. Just going to go see how wet they are, and if they're a bit dry or whatever, we might switch and just come up here and start whacking this one down. We will see in a second. Up here it might be better. We got the big clods that are breaking underneath my feet, which is nice. It is in places, you can see it's a bit wet, which isn't ideal. I think though it might be better for George to come up here and start smudging on this stuff, because at least with these big clods, that's going to break up easily for him. That's breaking now with my hand, so I'm hoping that'll break up with the smudge bar. A few of you might be suggesting chuck some weight onto that smudge bar. I don't want to do that, because once I do that, it's just going to end up being a big grater and just ball everything up the front and just make a mess essentially, and I don't particularly want to do that. We've got the spader rocking up on the weekend or maybe Monday, so we sort of need to get onto this job and get it done. We'll do the best we can with the tools we can at the time we can, and that's all we can ask for. But just walking over it, I think it'll do a better job here on the bigger stuff than what it's doing over there on that little stuff. And when he finishes here, he might be able to go back there and smudge all that stuff for the other 45 before the spader gets to it. It's not all doom and gloom on the side of the pines here. This is where George is working. It has done a good job smudging it around and getting this was just all white sand, and now it's done a good job. Obviously not like I would have liked with breaking that down, but the spader will also do a fair bit of the work as well. But at least it's moved a fair bit of it around. Henry's there spraying away, and just coming up here to see how George is going with the clay up on this site up here. It's not doing a great job, but it is doing a better job than what was happening over in the other side there where we'd already smudged. So not a terrific job, but also it's not just skimming over the top like what was happening over there. It's at least breaking it up. We're getting it to smaller pieces, which is going to be better for the spader. If we leave it in big pieces, yeah, it's no good. Again, it's not ideal leaving things like this. We want it to be, you know, a lot smaller, more like that, but this is just what we've got. So he'll finish this off. Even though I've just started, he will finish this off. Then we'll go on the 45s, and it'll make all of this look much nicer. And yeah, hopefully we will have a crop here this year, and I'll be able to show you guys all that. And George mentioned it. I think Aaron did a better job at getting the clay a bit more consistent than what he did over there. He might have been rushing a bit more over there maybe. But yeah, here it's a lot more consistent. There's not as much white sand left around, so that's also a positive and makes it just that bit easier for George. So yeah, anyway guys, I'll leave the video there and I'll see you guys in the next one.